Would you dare to awaken the infamous beast known as the leg breaker? Today we set out on an extraordinary journey, tracing the entire history of a motorcycle that marked a true turning point in the off-road world, the Honda XR600. But as with every captivating story, we must begin at the very start, with the legendary Honda XR. In this video, you'll not only discover the technical advancements that took this machine to the top, but also uncover the thrilling tales behind its notorious nickname, the leg breaker. So, fasten that helmet tight, pull your gloves snug, and get ready for an adventure like no other. The story begins in 1979, when Honda rolled out the XR500, a machine that would set the tone for everything to come. At its heart was a 497 cubic centimeter four-stroke engine, built not just for speed, but for sheer endurance. Wrapped in a rugged tubular steel frame, it was engineered to take a beating on the roughest trails without flinching. And then there was the suspension. Long travel, forgiving and unmatched in its class, soaking up rocks, ruts, and jumps with ease. This wasn't some twitchy race bike that only pros could handle, nor was it a soft, tamed-down trail machine. The XR500 struck a rare balance, powerful enough for competitive riders, yet approachable for the weekend adventurer who wanted to push a little harder than the average Sunday cruise. It was as comfortable carving through desert sand as it was picking its way along a rocky mountain pass. Honda wasn't content to leave it there. By 1981, they gave the XR500 more muscle under the tank and refined the suspension even further, delivering a smoother ride and sharper control. These changes weren't dreamed up in a boardroom. They came straight from the dirt, from riders who knew what worked and what didn't. Then came 1984, and with it, another round of smart refinements. The ergonomics were adjusted, making the bike feel more natural and less fatiguing on long rides. The transmission was reworked for quicker, more precise shifts, a subtle change that serious riders noticed right away. Looking back, it's clear the XR500 was never just a model in Honda's lineup. It was the foundation, the solid bedrock upon which an even greater legend would be built. And in the mid-1980s, that next chapter would arrive, bringing with it more power, less weight, and a reputation that would shake the off-road world to its core. By 1985, Honda was ready to turn the page, and what came next would take everything the XR500 had proven and push it further than anyone expected. Enter the XR600, a machine that didn't just inherit a legacy, it elevated it. Underneath that unmistakable red and white livery was a larger, more potent heart, a 591 cubic centimeter four-stroke single that churned out a stout 46 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. But the real magic was in the torque. 38.3 pound-feet at 5,000 RPM, delivered in a way that made the bike surge forward with authority, even in the lower gears. It was the kind of grunt that could claw you up a steep hill or blast you out of a deep sand wash without a hint of hesitation. And then, there was the weight, or rather, the lack of it. At just 276 pounds dry, the XR600 tipped the scales lighter than even the modern XR250 Tornado, defying the assumption that bigger engines meant bulkier bikes. Honda's engineers had trimmed every unnecessary ounce, yet somehow kept the bulletproof durability that had made the XR name legendary. The frame, refined from its XR500 roots, was both stiffer and lighter. The suspension offered generous travel, soaking up boulders, roots, and whoops, with a calm confidence that let you stay in control even when the trail tried to throw you off. Whether you were picking your way through technical single track or flying down a wide-open desert course, the XR600 felt planted, predictable, and ready for more. It didn't take long for the off-road world to notice. In motocross and endurance racing, the XR600 became a trusted weapon, valued not just for its speed, but for its ability to take punishment day after day without losing its edge. Riders learned they could push it hard, ride it long, and still count on it to fire right back up for another round. The XR600 wasn't simply a successor, it was a statement. Honda had shown they could take a proven platform, strip it down, power it up, and turn it into something that could dominate in the dirt. And the best part? This was only the beginning of its legend. As the 1990s rolled in, Honda wasn't about to let the XR600 rest on its reputation. The engineers went back to the drawing board, not to reinvent the machine, but to refine it in ways that would make a great bike even better. In 1991, the XR600 received a brand new carburation system. It wasn't the kind of change that jumped out in a spec sheet, but you could feel it the moment you twisted the throttle. The improved air-fuel mixture meant crisper response, cleaner acceleration, and an engine that seemed to breathe more freely. It pulled harder when you needed it and ran smoother over long days in the saddle. The exhaust system got its own redesign, too. More efficient flow meant not only better performance, but also a cleaner running motor. The XR600 could now deliver its trademark punch while burning cleaner and running cooler, a welcome upgrade for riders tackling miles of punishing terrain. But it was during this era that the XR600 picked up a name as notorious as it was respected: the leg breaker. The nickname wasn't born from any mechanical flaw. It came from the bike's raw torque and aggressive power delivery. If you weren't ready when that big single lit off, it could kick back hard enough to leave you limping. And once it was running, a careless twist of the throttle could launch you faster than you intended, especially in the lower gears. Plenty of riders found out the hard way. Some walked away with nothing more than a bruised shin and a sheepish grin. Others, with a story they'd be telling for years. The XR600 had always been a serious machine for serious riders, but in the 90s, it cemented its reputation, not just as a bike that could conquer anything, but as one that demanded your respect every time you swung a leg over it. By the year 2000, the XR600 had already spent a decade and a half proving itself on trails, in races, and in the hearts of riders around the world. That year, Honda rolled out what would become the final production version, a farewell not with fanfare but with quiet confidence. The formula hadn't changed. The big 591 cubic centimeter single was still there, delivering the same muscle and torque that had built its fearsome reputation. The frame remained light, yet unshakably strong. The suspension still soaked up punishing terrain without complaint, and the bike's balance between brute strength and nimble handling was as good as ever. In short, it was still the XR600 everyone knew, loved, and respected. But this final edition marked more than just the end of a model. It was the close of a chapter in Honda's off-road history, a chapter defined by machines that were overbuilt, understressed, and designed to last through years of hard riding with minimal fuss. For many riders, it was the last true XR in spirit before changing times and market demands pushed the industry in new directions. Today, a clean, well-kept XR600 can fetch anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000, and finding one in excellent condition is a badge of honor among enthusiasts. Parts are still relatively easy to source, a testament to both the bike's enduring popularity and the massive support network it inspired. Ask anyone who's owned one and they'll tell you the same. The XR600 wasn't just about getting from point A to point B, it was about getting there through anything, anywhere, and coming back with a grin. Even now, decades after its last roll off the assembly line, it remains a benchmark for what an off-road motorcycle should be. Powerful, durable, and ready for whatever lies ahead. In the years since the last XR600 left the showroom floor, the off-road landscape has changed dramatically. Modern enduro bikes have split into two extremes, either featherweight, high-strung machines built for short bursts of speed, or oversized adventure bikes tipping well over 440 pounds, loaded with electronics and luxuries. Somewhere along the way, the raw, unfiltered spirit of the true all-rounder began to fade. And yet, the XR600 still stands apart. It needs no traction control, no ride modes, no digital displays to prove its worth. What it offers is something rarer, a direct mechanical connection between rider and machine. Every twist of the throttle, every shift, every bump in the trail is communicated without filter, just as it was in its heyday. For many, it has become more than just a motorcycle. It's a symbol of freedom, the ability to point your front wheel toward the horizon and simply go. It's an invitation to wander, to push past the next ridge, to see where that faint trail disappearing into the trees might lead. And it's a reminder that the best adventures often come without a map. From the punishing heat and dust of desert races to the damp, rocky switchbacks deep in the mountains, the XR600 proved again and again that it could go the distance. It was as comfortable battling for position on a race course as it was carrying a lone rider deep into the backcountry. Riders came to trust it not just as a tool, but as a companion, one that wouldn't quit when things got tough. Decades later, the XR600's reputation hasn't dimmed. It remains a benchmark for durability, capability, and sheer rider satisfaction. And for those lucky enough to own one, it's not just a piece of history. It's a ticket to keep chasing the next adventure, the next challenge, the next horizon. The Honda XR600 isn't just a motorcycle, it's an icon of pure strength, unshakable durability, and the spirit to go where few have ever dared to put two wheels. From dusty red trails and rocky, twisting switchbacks to the glory of the racetrack, the XR600 has left a mark that will never fade. And now, the next chapter is in your hands. Have you ever seen, ridden, or owned an XR600? What stands out most to you about this legendary leg breaker? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below, because it's your stories that will keep this legend alive. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like. And be sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next adventures, where we continue exploring the machines that captured an entire generation.